everybody! Welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, funny stuff, and the Steimbachers.
Oh my god, we're a little family unit now.
We're a family unit. We're the Steimbachers. Don't we have another
I feel
name?
like...
No.
I mean, Steinbacher's the best one. And I think it sounds like a sitcom that we should try to shop around as a pilot. What do you think?
Like one of those late night sitcoms.
It's the Steinbachers!
And like the cheesy music in the background, like
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That is us. Anyway, yes, Christine Steimer is also here. Andrea Renee was smart, and she took a few days off because we've been to GDC, we've been to PAX East back to back. We're all a little dead inside. Steimer is ailed. She has some weird disease called a cold.
Some weird disease called a very minor cold, which this is not as bad by any means. This is maybe 10% of the ear infection of last year.
Oh man.
So it's not bad. It's just annoying.
Well, a lot of people actually got sick at PAX East this year. I heard the flu is making its way around. So
you know what? As much as I love our community, I'm going to blame the meet and greet.
No, don't blame them. Blame someone else
I
on
have
the show
to.
floor.
It's the only time that I shook hands.
Listen, how do you know someone didn't like hack in front of you and you breathed in their air particles and that's how you got sick at like on the show floor?
I don't know that.
Well, I'd say
it's just that was the most people I was around.
Well, shit. So Steimer is slightly ill, but she's not that bad. Have you taken any Sudafed? That's the real question.
Sudafed. Put it in my tum.
Oh my god.
No, I haven't. Not yet. If I had to travel or anything, I would. But right now, I'm mostly just taking as many leafy greens as possible to try and, let my body naturally kick this thing's ass and have it be on its merry way here shortly.
Like, what's a leafy green?
Kale, spinach.
Oh, so the edible shit. Like the...
yes, like vegetables.
I don't know if you're finding some miracle pill that's just full of, like, ground up plant matter and you're consuming it.
I mean, a smoothie is essentially ground up plant matter, and that's what I had today.
You and your logic, Steimer. Get out of here. Get out of here with your intelligence. So yes, we are here. We are alive-ish, but we are going to bring you the best episode of What's Good Games that we possibly can. Just a few announcements / housekeeping. First of all, we're both wearing Invisalign, so don't judge us. I typically don't wear mine while we're recording the show, but I was telling Steimer before we started shooting, I got new attachments this week. And for those of you who don't know, attachments, are they cement? Like, what is it they put on your teeth?
They're definitely not cement.
Not cement, like the teeth cement.
They are adhered with some sort of glue. I don't actually know how they get them on
like
there, but they're a sharp. They're like a little sharp nubbin on your teeth.
And I have new sharp nubbins on my teeth, and if I don't wear my Invisalign, it just like slashes the inside of my mouth. So I have to wear the trays so my mouth is protected from.
Not only that, we record this show for almost 2 hours, and that's the whole time that you should. So you wouldn't be able to eat anything if you didn't wear them during the show.
And I wouldn't have I was going to say I wouldn't have a mouth by the time I got done talking after 2 hours. I'd be like a zombie. Like the zombie in Resident Evil 2 Remake, like one of the first ones you find and you like turn its head and its whole like jaw just falls off.
Yeah.
That would
Gross.
Totally be me. Okay, that's really not a big announcement, but I just threw that in there. So sorry if I sound a little, what's the word?
We it makes you a little bit lispy.
A little, I know, but I can't help it. Hopefully.
It's fine. No, I mean, we're fine. It's fine.
Okay, everything's fine. Don't judge us.
Moving on.
We are on GameStop TV. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
We are.
Yeah. If you go into your local GameStop, you will find Andrea, Steimer, and myself on the television talking about games that we are excited about that are coming in April. Steimer talked about Ace Attorney. I talked about Days Gone. Andrea talked about Mortal Kombat. And so this is a really new, exciting opportunity for us, and hopefully you will stop by in the months to come and look for our faces talking about the video games and send us pictures. It's fun to see them. Next, PAX East was amazing. Holy crap. I feel like we talked about PAX East for a very long time, but now it has come and it has gone, and we are, almost a week post-PAX. Yeah, I left a week ago today for Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So did I.
So thanks to everyone who came to our panel, our D&D session, and of course our meetup. Our panel is uploaded to whatever podcast platform you would like to listen to it on. We uploaded it a few
Probably
days
the
ago.
one that you're listening to this show on.
Probably. That's a safe bet. And just a huge thank you again to Craig and Tyler, who helped us with our D&D session on Friday.
That was so much fun.
Oh my god, I'm being nasty the half orc, and now I have assless chaps for the next D&D session. That's a long story.
Hell yeah.
Maybe I'll tell you about it some other day. And of course, everyone who came to our meetup, again, the turnout was, I don't think we were quite expecting that many people, and it was just really awesome to see all of you. Shake your hands. Steimer would like to blame me for getting her sick, but I mean.
But out of like, you only were able to get me sick because there were so many of you, and because you were all so lovely. That is a nice positive spin. There you go.
Look at you, little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
That was fucking incredible. I'm so proud of you. So yeah, huge thank you to everyone who made that really special for us. It was definitely unforgettable. And now that we're in April, that means we have new Patreon changes that are going into effect. So if you are part of our Epic membership, which is the $5 tier, that means you get an ad-free podcast. Also, as part of our new show routine, we're going to be giving shout-outs to new patrons and our Patreon producers. Speaking of, this week, we want to give out a huge shout out to our Patreon producers, Lincoln Davis, Alex Rogopoulos, Ferris, oh God, Atier.
You can just,
Atier. That sounds like
you just make it sound like you
make it what it
mean
is.
it.
Yeah, we never promise to pronounce your name correctly. And welcome new patrons, sketch artist Sean Hanra, Conrad Owens, James Warwick, Matt Boche, Dylan Blank, Craves Snow, me too, Marilyn Lira, Adam Zimmerman, Riley Donahoe, Stephen Hooker, and one of the badassest names ever, Leonardo Alberto Talavera Barocchio.
Wow. Also, hi, Crave Snow.
Hi.
That was somebody that used to be part of my Twitch chat once upon a time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we get into the news, we'd like to thank our sponsors HoneyBook and Calm for supporting the show. And first up, we've got details about a special offer from HoneyBook. If you have a great idea for a business, what's holding you back? If the thought of all of that admin work is overwhelming, HoneyBook is here to help you get your plan off the ground. HoneyBook is an online business management tool that lets you control your client communication, bookings, contracts, and invoices all in one place. If you're a creative freelancer or small business owner, HoneyBook helps you stay organized with custom templates and automation tools. You can even use HoneyBook to consolidate services you already use, like QuickBooks, Google Suite, and MailChimp. Over 75,000 photographers, designers, event professionals, and other entrepreneurs have saved hundreds of thousands of hours a year. It's your business, just better with HoneyBook. So Andrea's talked about her experience with HoneyBook in the past and how their customer service is top-notch, and I would have to agree with that. She and I have eyes over the What's Good Games email inbox, and I feel like every time I was going in there, they were reaching out, being like, hey, how can we help you? And Andrea would respond with something like, okay, let us help you with this. So that is definitely a plus because running a business is hard, ladies and gentlemen. I have started a few in my day, and there's so much admin, paperwork, contracts, proposals, all of these things that you have to do, and it's a real pain in the butt. So to have someone help you to do this, it's definitely worth giving it a shot. So right now, HoneyBook is offering our listeners 50% off of your first year with promo code What's Good. Payment is flexible, and this promotion applies whether you pay monthly or annually. Go to honeybook.com and use promo code What's Good for 50% off of your first year. Get paid faster and work smarter with honeybook.com, promo code What's Good. All right, Steimer, let's get into the news. Do you want to take this first one?
Oh, boy. Sure. So one of the things that happened, obviously, while we were at PAX was that I was like, Borderlands had a panel. Well, technically, it wasn't Borderlands. It was Gearbox had a panel.
You mean they had a magic show?
They did have mostly a magic show, to be quite honest with you. It was a little weird, their whole panel, but...
I think they did good, right? Considering all the technical hiccups, they did a good job at keeping the audience engaged. But
it was just weird, but you know, whatever. It's fine. It happened. It's over. And and now they are releasing more information about Borderlands 3, which they revealed at that panel, namely a release date.
Oh my goodness.
So Borderlands 3 is coming September 13th, exclusive to Epic Game Store on PC. Lol. I don't know why I love that, but So, like I just said, Borderlands 3 is coming to PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One September 13th. And, PC version, you will only be able to get it on the Epic's Game Store until April 2020. So,
6-month
that's
exclusive.
actually, I'm like, it's not terrible, but whatever. So they also have a new trailer for Borderlands 3 today, or not today, because this is Friday when this show goes
That's
up.
true.
That highlights the 4 new playable Vault Hunters and the evil duo they'll go up against. The Calypso twins.
Dun, dun.
Sorry, I like, ooh, spooky. Is available above. More details about the game are promised on May 1st when Gearbox will hold a gameplay reveal event live stream. So here are the 4 new Vault Hunters. Mose as the gunner. When Mose needs a backup, she digistructs her mech, Iron Bear, for a sucker punch of additional firepower. There's Amara as the Siren, a confident, capable brawler with the ability to summon ethereal fists. Amara uses her Siren powers to smash her enemies. That sounds like you. You like to smash people.
Yeah, I do. Wait.
FL4K as the Beastmaster. FL4K lives for the hunt. So do the loyal beasts that follow their masters' every command. Their preferred prey? Unsuspecting bandits. Those poor suckers. That's going to be me. Zane as the Operative. Specializing in battlefield gadgetry, Zane is extremely proficient at slipping into combat, creating chaos, and sneaking back out as if he were never there. Gearbox also teased New Worlds Beyond Pandora, where players can loot for the series' trademark bazillions of guns, including firearms with self-propelling bullet shields, rifles that spawn volcanoes, and guns that grow legs, hunt down targets, and verbally insult them.
Oh my god, so good.
A new leveling syncing system will also make playing cooperatively with friends, regardless of your story experience progression, according to a fact sheet. Wait, that was a weird sentence to have read.
Yeah.
I don't think it made grammatical sense, but hopefully you get the idea. I did read that as written, so.
You did. That wasn't you.
I don't know what that's all about. 2K and Gearbox have 4 editions of Borderlands 3 coming this fall, ranging from the standard $59.99 to $249.99. You couldn't just go $250. That's the one thing I find really weird about retail. Is that's always like $99. It's not quite that other price, and you're like, but it is.
I wonder why that is. I'm sure
I wonder
there's
if
some
it's still there's been research on that. People are like, oh, it's not that expensive.
But couldn't you just bump it up to $250.99?
That would be it. No, people like the $99.99.
Yeah,
like they like the $9.99. Yeah. They like that. They love that shit. You eat it up, don't you? Yes, you do. Okay, so you can just buy the game, obviously, or you can buy the deluxe edition, which includes some digital bonus content like the retro cosmetic pack, neon cosmetic pack, gearbox cosmetic pack, toy box weapon pack, woohoo, and XP and loop drop boost mods. The super deluxe edition includes all that shit. And then also Borderlands 3 Season Pass, which includes 4 campaign DLC packs, including new stories, missions, and challenges, and the Butt Stallion weapon skin. Come on, who doesn't want that? Finally, the big boy, the Diamond Loot Chest Collector's Edition, includes a Diamond Loot Chest replica, Borderlands 3 character figurines. It says times 10. I don't know if that means there's 10 figurines. Possibly.
It sounds like it, right?
Yeah, including 4 new Vault Hunters, the Calypso twins, other characters from the Borderlands universe. Yes, so 10 figurines. Approximately 3 inches tall. I'm getting there, Brittany. I know it's a lot to read.
I didn't know if I'm trying to help you because I know I put so much in here.
You did. You poured your soul into this. Anyways.
It's my life's finest work.
Sanctuary 3 Snap Model. Vault Key keychains. You get 4 of those, if you got 3 friends who love Borderlands. Cloth Galaxy map, character art lithographs. You get 5 of those, which are the new Vault Hunters and the Calypso twins. Wait, that doesn't. Yeah, okay. The Calypso twins must be on one. Anyways, Borderlands 3 Steelbook case. So if you really like those physical edition things, like I know that you do, Brittany, are you going to get the big boy 250?
I want to, but here's the thing, Steimer.
You don't have friends that want those keychains?
I mean, I wasn't gonna go there, but. You're not getting one of them now, but I don't have the room anymore. I've run out of room. All of my game rooms, I had to buy more shelves if I'm gonna make this happen. Even my poor beloved Resident Evil
You're gonna
2.
have to buy another house.
I know, so I keep trying to tell my husband, but he's not hearing it. But even my beloved Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition is just still like on my desk, and it doesn't have a home. So I'm probably gonna have to boot something out to make room for it. But
Yeah, you just need to you need to take one away and put one in.
Is that what she said?
I don't know. It sounds a little weird.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
It's like your closet. You need to, remove an article of clothing and then replace it with something else.
You've seen my closet. I have a very hard time doing that.
That is true.
I mean, this is cool. I mean, okay. So what happened on April Fool's Day was somehow the Borderlands Twitter account, or was it Gearbox, one or the other, tweeted out the release date on April Fool's Day, and then they promptly deleted it, but not before, obviously, people had screenshotted it. So everyone's like, is this actually coming out? And it is. I mean, it's not surprising that this is coming out this year. I think it needed to come out this year if this game.
Oh, yeah. If it wasn't coming out this year, I'd be like, why are you talking about it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's been in development for how many years now? 5?
A bit. It's been there for a bit.
Yeah,
it's like
years?
5.
I don't remember.
It's roughly, I think they said that, yeah.
I don't know where time is going. Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense for them to announce this in the fashion they did. Honestly, even the way they announced this just didn't make a lot of sense to me. They're like, okay, here's an announcement for the panel. And the panel is like, okay, here's the reveal trailer. Now stay tuned for the release date. And now
5 days later.
Yeah. Now.
And then here's the Vault Hunters.
Yeah. And now isn't there another gameplay?
And now, May 1st.
Yeah.
Which is a month away. They'll have a gameplay reveal event. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Yeah. That to me is the only weird part.
Yeah.
Is it just feels, the timing feels bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know. I just feel a little bit odd about it in that sense, but I mean, I imagine I'll still have fun with this game, so.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you think this game has potential for Game of the Year in one of the categories? Or do you think it could? Obviously, no one's played it yet, but.
I have no idea. It's going to depend on everything else, I think, that comes out this year.
Right.
Because obviously it's all contextual.
Yeah.
You can't tell. I can't say whether or not this is going to be one of the best games of the year if I don't know what all of the games of the year are.
Right. Well, I ask that because I know, and we'll talk about this in the next story, but a lot of folks were banking on a game like Anthem being Game of the Year, right? And so I think games that people had planned on, or maybe are planning on shining through, just are falling a little short. And even the Division 2, while really great, can you consider that to be a Game of the Year? So like Andrea was saying,
possibly. I think if an Overwatch managed to win Game of the Year one year, yeah, it could.
That's touche.
And not to say that I'm not trying to shade Overwatch. Obviously, it's a great game, but it's just not a game I would have normally thought of as a Game of the Year contender.
Mm-hmm.
Just given its genre and style, not something that typically would be picked by critics. But so in that sense, I think it can be anybody's game. It just sort of depends on the level of polish, the level of fun,
Resident Evil 2, let's go!
Oh my God.
What?
No, but possibly, but no.
Listen, you and I made a deal. You got to play some Scary.
I did. I wore those shoes. They were great.
Yeah, so we made a deal. Did we talk about this yet on the show?
I don't know if we talked about it on the show.
Oh, I did. I talked
Twitter.
about it. I talked about it last episode with Marissa and Andrea, so everyone's very well aware of this bargain I made with you. Some other tidbits about Borderlands 3 is that it will feature online and 2-player split-screen co-op, which is awesome. The split-screen co-op is on Xbox One and PS4. PC was not mentioned in that, so I'm assuming that means no split-screen on PC.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I've done a few games that are split-screen on PC, and it works out, but usually the monitors are so small, it's doesn't work out.
Yeah, unless you have one of those, really big, beautiful widescreen monitors. Ooh. One day I want one of those.
Yes, well, maybe we can work out another deal.
Oh my God. No. I'm going to play scary games for the rest of my life, and you're going to furnish my life. It's like a weird sugar daddy situation where you're just paying for everything, and I'm just crying all the time.
Amazing. No, that will not be your future. Don't worry. Also, you can toggle shared loot and how you want to work that, which is a really important thing because in a game like this where you have a bazillion guns, if you play a game, I get frustrated when I play games with people and they just hog all the loot. I'm like, no, you don't even use that gun. Why are you taking it? So you can turn that off.
Good.
This, which will be nice. And also, I have here on one of the pre-order pages, Xbox has listed cross-platform co-op as a feature. So obviously that probably means Xbox and PC, PS4
Yeah.
and PC, but not much more than that, ladies and gentlemen.
Not yet. We're not quite there in gaming's life cycle.
I am, anyway, just super duper excited. We talked a little bit about Borderlands on our PAX East panel that, again, you can listen to whenever you're done with this show. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I don't think they need to do anything much different. I hope it has the same quirkiness and same sense of humor that we've...
Just better quality of life improvement.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the Game of the Year edition is out. Borderlands Game of the Year edition is out today on PS4, Xbox One, PC. And the Borderlands Handsome Collection got the Ultra HD texture pack. So there you go. All right, Steimer.
Woo. Yeah.
Fucking strap in.
I know, I wrote LOL.
I literally have that in our show notes because we are going to talk about this, or try to break down this piece from Jason Schreier about how BioWare's Anthem went wrong.
Before we do, I feel like I should minorly disclaim.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I did work at EA. I did work technically for BioWare. It wasn't BioWare Edmonton. It was a branch of BioWare that no longer exists. It was called BioWare Social, and we made obviously social games. But I just wanted to, when we talk about this, I just felt like I should, disclose that.
That's a very good thing to do, Steimer. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Jason Schreier posted this article yesterday, which would have been April 2nd on Kotaku. I highly encourage you to give it a read. It took me about an hour to get through the whole thing. So obviously we can't recount all of that during this, but we'll dive into our thoughts and kind of give you a brief overview.
Give you a little bit of a little TLDR.
Yeah, so here I have the first few paragraphs that we'll go through that kind of sets the tone for the piece of its entirety. Okay.
Sure.
This is Jason's piece. This account of Anthem's development, based on interviews with 19 people who either worked on the game or adjacent to it, all of whom were granted anonymity. Did I say that right?
Anonymity.
I hate that word. It's like rural. Because they were not authorized to talk about Anthem's development, is a story of indecision and mismanagement. It's a story of technical failings as EA's Frostbite engine continued to make life miserable for many of BioWare's developers, and understaffed departments struggled to serve their team's needs. It's a story of two studios, one in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and another in Austin, Texas, that grew resentful toward one another thanks to a tense, lopsided relationship. It's a story of a video game that was in development for nearly 7 years but didn't enter production until the final 18 months, thanks to big narrative reboots, major design overhauls, and a leadership team said to be unable to provide a consistent vision and unwilling to listen to feedback. Perhaps most alarming is a story about a studio in crisis. Dozens of developers, many of them decade-long veterans, have left BioWare over the past 2 years. Some who have worked at BioWare's longest-running office in Edmonton talk about depression and anxiety. Many say they or their coworkers had to take stress leave, a doctor-mandated period of weeks or even months' worth of vacation for their mental health. One former BioWare developer told me that people would frequently find a private room in the office, shut the door, and just cry. Quote, people were so angry and sad all the time, they said another. Quote, depression and anxiety are an epidemic within BioWare. Then another quote from someone, I actually cannot count the amount of stress casualties we had on Mass Effect Andromeda or Anthem, said a third former BioWare developer in an email. A stress casualty at BioWare means someone had such a mental breakdown from the stress, they're just gone for 1 to 3 months. Some come back, some don't. And then jumping ahead a little bit, and this kind of sets the main foundation here. Many at the company now grumble that the success of 2014's Dragon Age Inquisition was one of the worst things that could have happened to them. The third Dragon Age, which won Game of the Year at the 2014 Game Awards, was the result of a brutal production process plagued by indecision and technical challenges. It was mostly built over the course of its final year, which led to lengthy crunch hours and lots of exhaustion. Quote, some of the people in Edmonton were so burnt out, said one former BioWare developer. They were like, we needed Dragon Age Inquisition to fail in order for people to realize that this isn't the right way to make games. Woof.
So yeah. Obviously there's a lot to unpack. This is just like a tidbit of all of the shit that's in here. I think the worst part about it to me is that I don't find it surprising, and I also don't think it's a unique problem to BioWare.
Oh no.
And so I think that's honestly the more disturbing implications is not that, this is happening at a studio. It's like, this is normalized a lot of the times in this industry, especially at much larger developers. Obviously, not every developer. Some do tend to have better work-life balances, but this is not a unique case. I've heard this multiple times at different places. And the whole like, it really, games are often like, a lot of the games I have heard of do tend to say they're in development for whatever, X amount of years. Even Borderlands, we're talking about it's 5 years in development. However, what does that actually mean? What that probably actually means is it was really being worked on like legitimately for the past year and a half. Like that's probably best case scenario. A lot of the other stuff is design ideation, storyline ideation. It's honestly for my brief stint in development, it's a lot of dicking around. Like it's just like, does this work? It's like throwing spaghetti in the wall and like,
and it
cool,
sounds like
what works, what doesn't work.
Right, and it sounds like that's exactly what happened here. It sounds like after Casey Hudson, who it appears was kind of the mastermind of this project that was actually codenamed. So this is the other thing. It was codenamed Dylan, I think.
Yes,
Dylan.
It's codenamed Dylan after Bob Dylan.
Ah, there we go. I didn't know that. I just heard Dylan.
Oh, it says it on the article.
Oh, I missed that. And it was originally going to be titled Beyond, but then a few weeks or very soon before E3, after they already had T-shirts printed that said Beyond, for the staff at E3, the marketing team was like, "Yo, we can't do this. This is way too difficult. You better use your backup." And the backup was Anthem.
Which the weirder part to me there is, no shit, you probably couldn't use the title Beyond. Like, where is your legal team? Like, how have they not flagged that as you probably can't trademark this. You probably can't like do a whole lot with this. Mm-hmm. This isn't unique enough of a title. I feel like that was just, I can't believe anybody let them print shirts. I can't believe anybody let them get that far along with that name.
Yeah, that's a big yikes. So yeah, it sounds like after Casey Hudson left in August of 2014, it sounds like they just had a really hard time. I mean, this is obviously going all off of Jason's article, which we're assuming because of his reputation in the industry is true. And he did talk with 19 employees. But it sounds like everything, like you were saying, Steimer, it was just waffling around in pre-production for far, far too long. And it sounds like there's this talk within the studio called BioWare Magic, where no matter where the idea is, no matter how hard we have to crunch in the end, we're going to pull through. And I think that's what the developers were talking about, Dragon Age Inquisition. It sounds like that was just a clusterfuck toward the end of that game coming out. But the BioWare Magic prevailed, and they got Game of the Year 2014. And I think that's what most folks, or at least leadership, was telling other staff was, hey, BioWare Magic, man, we're going to make it work in the very end. You're just going to have to crunch. You're going to have to work really hard. All while no actual decisions were being made. No one, because after Casey left, no one could step up and make those decisions. What are we going to do in a meeting? We have these scars, okay? What are these going to be? Someone would present one idea, someone would present another idea, but nothing would actually get done. And it sounds like that was a big core issue here during the development of Anthem.
I mean, yeah, that's a problem.
That's a very big problem.
It's a problem if nobody is there to make a final decision. It's a problem if nobody there has a vision. And I think that's actually an interesting thing when you sort of contrast that with when we had friend of the show Corey Barlog on, and how he was talking about, I had this vision. And a lot of people thought I was fucking crazy, right? Like, mm-hmm. And like, but I had a vision. He had a vision for what it was, and they were able to execute on that vision. If there's nobody like Corey there, even if people are doubting you, even if people are like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. All of that aside, if there's nobody there with any sort of vision, you're just waffling. You're just in the dark, right? You're just like, where are the walls? I don't know. Right. You're just kind of going around with feelers, trying to not fall into a pit, or like you have no idea what's in that room because it's dark.
Yeah.
You're just hoping nothing's gonna jump out and bite you in the ass.
Literally.
But yeah. But I think the thing about quote unquote BioWare Magic is also not a unique thing to BioWare. Like I have also heard that about other studios where people, obviously wouldn't call it that, but it's sort of like this idea of it'll somehow all work out in the end. And like, even if you can just put that time in, if you can just make it through, it will be worth it. And I think it's, sort of a dangerous mindset, especially because it means nothing ever changes. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of the key point. And we can move on to a little bit here to BioWare's response. which, as you have noted in the show notes, went up about 15 minutes after Kotaku's report, meaning this was written before they really read it. And I believe Jason said separately, or maybe somewhere in that article, I don't remember where I saw it, but Jason had sent them over a few bullet points of like roughly what it would be about, but they didn't get to see the whole article. They didn't have full context for anything he was writing.
Right.
So this was a response drafted by, I would imagine, the studio heads of BioWare, in addition with like EAPR and like.
So this went live 15 minutes after Jason Schreier's piece went up, and like you said, Steimer, he only sent them bullet points. So there's no way, even if they wanted to make the claim that they knew what this piece was about, you can't read this thing in 15 minutes and draft up a response. It's just not possible. So where this statement is coming from is, they made an assumption, they read the bullet points, and they drafted something. And I think what comes across is something very tone deaf. But
well, I mean, it would be, right? If you are responding to something. It's like if you and I are having a conversation and you're not actually listening to anything that I'm saying, and you just start talking over me and you're just like, wait a minute, I haven't finished my sentence yet. What are you talking about? That's sort of what this response came about as, because instead of, now granted, here's what I'll also say. I do find a little bit of the reporting to be negative in tone, in the sense that like it paints Anthem to be this epic failure, disaster, like garbage fire. And while obviously there's room for improvement there, I'm not going to sit here and say Anthem is a perfect game. I would say that it's not terribly unsimilar to, say, Sea of Thieves. And yet there was no article about, an expose on Rare, like what happened with that and blah, blah, blah. So that's just kind of my
it's
two
true.
Cents throwing in.
And I think the contrast, right, is that you hear about how terrible, I mean, the picture this paints is that it was an awful development cycle, awful development period for 6, I don't know how many years it was. I can't do math. It's hard. But, at the end, what we got was a game that a lot have said it's fun to play. It just feels undercooked. It feels like it's a little broken in some areas. You can see where the issues shine in through. And as I was just reading an article earlier, I can't remember what it was, but Anthem's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
And the saving grace with Anthem is that it is a game as a service. So it has the opportunity to right the ship. If this was a Mass Effect, again, right, that's a different story.
Right.
That's not really a game that's designed to be iterated on after you release it. That's a game that you ship in a box and maybe add a few patches of DLC to. So Anthem can be, and I think will be, fine. So that was the only part that I sort of took issue with, was like, it just seemed to like really try to tell the story from like a incredible negative Nancy point of view. Now, that being said, I do think that this is an important story to tell. And I think one of the things it highlights in particular that I find sort of fascinating that it's still a thing, given how much issues we've read about it before, is this motherfucker Frostbite.
Oh, yeah, man.
So if you don't know what Frostbite is a game engine. So much like Unreal Engine exists, Unreal Engine is made by Epic Games. It is a very common engine. A lot of game developers will license, and so they will pay Epic to use their engine in order to develop video games. Frostbite is an EA-owned engine that was made by DICE, who is a game studio in Sweden, and they built it to make first-person shooters. So really, this engine wasn't designed to be multi-purpose. It was originally designed to make really beautiful, crisp, crunchy first-person shooters. That's what it was made to do. EA, for whatever reason, and on paper, I understand the decision. I don't understand the decision in practice. On paper, you're like, hey, we have this engine. It's capable of making things look exceptionally beautiful. Why don't we go ahead and give this to all of our other development teams and have them use it? And then, because all of our other teams are working on it, they can all learn together. They can all share learnings. We'll make this like the world's best engine, whatever.
All for the sake of not having to pay licensing money.
All for the sake of not having to pay, yes, Epic Games. So instead of paying off Epic however much they were in licensing fees, now they can just,
Yeah,
I don't know,
and no
put
one
it back in their
knows,
pockets.
and
But
no one knows how to use this engine, right? Like, and it sounds like it was such a shitty engine, or is such a shitty engine that something that
it's
would.
not a shitty engine. To clarify what it is it is a very highly specified engine that is designed to do a particular thing and do that very well.
It's a shitty
What it is
engine for
not,
this
it is
kind
not a
of game.
multi-purpose engine. Correct.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of the features that you would need in order to build a BioWare style game.
Yeah, I was reading that even the load save functionality, even third person stuff or something like that, they had to build themselves from scratch because that's not included into it. So yeah, so obviously that's a huge issue, right? Is you have this engine, people aren't familiar with how to use it, and the people that were familiar with how to use it were moved to the FIFA teams because that's obviously the game that's going to make EA the most money, right? And it's a business decision and whatever, like on paper, okay, I get it, but obviously that presents a whole lot of challenges when you have these developers trying to make this game, and when the process in the pre-production is going so slow. If on let's say in January, someone says, we want this feature, by the time they figure out how to build this thing, it's maybe March or April. But by that time, pre-production has shifted so much that that's not the feature they want anymore. And now you've just wasted a whole bunch of time. And it sounds like that was a reoccurring issue within BioWare. And dang, this just made me real sad to read this thing.
Yeah, and I think I saw a tweet from a former BioWare dev. He clarified he never worked on Anthem. I don't remember if he said he worked on Andromeda or not, but I think he may have worked on Andromeda. But he was basically saying, like, look, I'm not going to comment on sort of the leadership issues or anything like that, but I will say Frostbite sucks for what we try to build, and those pain points are very real. And now he's working on a team that uses Unreal Engine, and he's like, oh my God, it's like, hallelujah, angels singing sort of shit. I'm not quoting him word for word, obviously. I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah,
sort of that where, and to me, I'm just like, my God, if you're not going to give the developer key access to the people they need, i.e. DICE, if you're not going to give BioWare more DICE resources to work on Frostbite, to build Frostbite to be what it needs to be, for the love of all God, give them an Unreal Engine license. Like, just like make everybody else work on Frostbite fine, but like if it's not working, it's not working. Right. And someone needs to be like, yo, this tech is amazing, wonderful, good job, you. Doesn't quite work for what we're here for. It'd be like, I don't even know where I'm going with this analogy, so I'm going to stop it right at the path. But
no, it's we have friends at BioWare, and it's just, I mean, I don't want to say on what level or anything, and I don't even know where to go with this. It just makes me sad to read this, and when I hear about, because admittedly, when Dragon Age Inquisition came out, I wasn't super familiar with how the dev cycle worked and crunch time and blah blah blah, and now reading this, it's almost like, dang, it doesn't, I don't want to say it puts a taint on the game, but it just makes me feel like really sad inside. That's so, yeah. I mean, Steimer, you know more about this than I do, but.
Well, I mean, it's sad because when they were talking about, oh, we need this to fail in order for people to realize, and like the shittier part is that I don't even think if it had failed that anyone would realize it. All it would have done, in my mind, is put BioWare closer and closer to the chopping block. Like, EA is not the company that sits and thinks about its problems and fixes them. EA is the company that looks at a hemorrhaging limb and cuts it off, right? Like, that's more of how I see it. So while I understand the mentality of like, maybe if this fails, we'll finally get things fixed, I don't think that's the case. I do hope in a lot of ways that maybe, honestly, this article can help in certain ways. I think when you shine a light on the dark spaces no one wants to talk about, that can be beneficial. I hope that they as a studio throw out their response in a way. Actually, we should read their response here too. Yeah. Just to kind of, so everybody's on the same page here. If you would like to go ahead, Brittany. It's very long, but like paraphrase maybe? I don't know.
No, I'll get through this quick because I think it's important. But all right, we'd like to take, so this, like I said, posted 15 minutes after Schreier's article. And this is on the BioWare blog. We'd like to take a moment to address an article published this morning about BioWare and Anthem's development. First and foremost, we wholeheartedly stand behind every current and former member of our team that worked on the game, including leadership. It takes a massive amount of effort, energy, and dedication to make any game, and making Anthem would not have been possible without every single one of their efforts. We chose not to comment or participate in this story because we felt there was an unfair focus on specific team members and leaders who did their absolute best to bring this totally new idea to fans. We didn't want to be part of something that was attempting to bring them down as individuals. We respect them all, and we built this game as a team. We put a great emphasis on our workplace culture in our studios. The health and well-being of our team members is something we take very seriously. We have built a new leadership team over the last couple of years, starting with Casey Hudson and our GM in 2017, which has helped us make big steps to improve studio culture and our creative focus. We hear the criticisms that were raised by the people in the piece today, and we're looking at that alongside feedback that we receive in our internal team surveys. We put a lot of focus on better planning to avoid crunch time, and it was not a major topic of feedback in our internal postmortems. Making games, especially new IP, will always be one of the hardest entertainment challenges. We do everything we can to try to make it healthy and stress-free, but we also know there is always room to improve. As a studio and a team, we accept all criticisms that will come our way for the games we make, especially from our players. The creative process is often difficult. The struggles and challenges of making video games are very real, but the reward of putting something we created into the hands of our players is amazing. People in this industry put so much passion and energy into making something fun. We don't see the value in tearing down one another or in one another's work. We don't believe articles that do that are making our industry and craft better. Our full focus is on our players and continuing to make Anthem everything it can be for our community. Thank you to our fans for your support. We do what we do for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this is not all terrible. There are definitely bits and pieces in here where I'm like, if they had, kept those things, but those parts aren't necessarily the issue. The main issue is, number one, this went up 15 minutes after this report. So you didn't know, you didn't read it, you didn't internalize it, you didn't think about what was being said and then respond. You responded before you even read the thing. And that's very obvious when you read this statement.
Yeah, because I feel like it doesn't really tear down anyone. I don't feel like you have anyone saying, this person sucked, this person was awful, this person was terrible. I don't feel like Jason conveyed that message at all. I think it's more the message that the workplace, the environment, the culture is what was bad, but I don't feel like that blame was put on any single one person.
Right. And then the specifically this part, I think, is laughable again in the when you put it in context of the time period. That we hear the criticisms that were raised by the people in the piece today, and no, you didn't, because you didn't read the article before you responded.
Right.
You just responded and said that we hear you, which is a bullshit apology. So like those are obviously a lot of the major issues with this. And then kind of they gloss over, I mean, obviously they gloss over things because they didn't read it. So
yeah.
They didn't have anything really to respond to. They didn't quite know what they were responding to. They were just sort of shooting in the dark and hoping that it hit something.
Yeah,
And so it's talking about it's basically like video games are hard, which yes.
Yeah.
100% video games are fucking hard to make. It's a miracle we get any at all. But to kind of say that is normal is the issue, in the sense that, yes, I do believe in a sense that a lot of creative processes are going to be difficult. I think game development will never be quote unquote easy, but I do think that that's stupid to say you couldn't have optimized whatsoever, right? Like, it's not just to be like, well, it's just hard, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not a good response. And to say that they don't believe that articles like this, again, that they hadn't read, are not making the industry or craft better is just flat out wrong, because what the article is trying to do is amplify the voices of those that are not heard. And clearly there were a lot of folks who maybe didn't feel comfortable speaking up, or maybe did speak up and weren't heard, or, God knows, there's so many different variants of why leadership does what they do. And sometimes you just gotta put the bullhorn right to their face and yell at them. And that's kind of what this article is. And I think it's going to make them uncomfortable, and it should.
Mm-hmm.
And they really need to sit down and look at their studio and figure out how they can fix this, if they can fix this, and if they can't there
are lessons that can be learned. Obviously, you spent way too much time in pre-production. You need to make sure you always have a leader first and foremost, so you're not doing this crazy there's a lesson that can be learned there. But yeah, and again, I love BioWare, and I love a lot of people that work at BioWare, but this just makes me so upset because, and I know this isn't just a BioWare issue, but it's just unfair. If you read the accounts of these employees that Jason talks to, and then for them to put in the statement, the very last paragraph that says, but the reward of putting something we created into the hands of our players is amazing. People put so much passion and energy to make it something fun. We don't see the value in tearing down one another or one another's work. There's 19 employees that were a part of this piece that were crying, that had to take, stress leave. That doesn't sound like something, this just seems so tone deaf and insensitive. And it's, again, because they didn't read the article. And this isn't how game development should be,
Right.
And I just feel like they could have done way better. And of course, it's probably asking too much to hope for a response from BioWare where they say, hey, there were a lot of valid points brought up in this piece, and we agree that we need to look at how we can make our craft better and how we can streamline and optimize.
Even if you don't say like the points are valid or whatever, like you can say it in a way where like, wow, yeah, like this piece leaves us like with a lot of reflecting to do,
right.
And we need to internally go and fix this ourselves. Like we don't need to necessarily. Honestly, they don't necessarily owe this giant statement to everybody.
No.
What they owe is to their employees. What they owe is to the people at that studio breaking their fucking necks trying to build this game. And
right.
Honestly, like PR 101, don't respond to something that you don't know what you're responding to.
Yeah.
It's just not a good look. That being said, I want to actually see if I can pull up. So I saw Casey tweeted today.
Mm-mm.
And I think he said, I think some people are seeing our support for our developers named in the article as dismissing the need to continue making improvements in our workplace. Not at all, ... It continues to another tweet, I should say. Part of what interested me about returning to BioWare was the challenge of building a new leadership team around solving precisely these problems. We have more work to do, but creating a happy and rewarding work environment remains our top priority.
Yay!
So like,
there you go.
It's a nice thing to say, but again, they need to now go away. And by away, I mean like out of public eye and like actually do something and fix it. And whether fixing it means that EA will finally let them license Unreal, who knows? Like or literally any other engine besides this clusterfuck that is Frostbite trying to build an RPG. God bless. But it's just. It is unfortunate, and I will say, like I said, not necessarily unique. I think the Frostbite issue is sort of unique in that I don't think necessarily a lot of studios are forced to use such a misaligned tool. Mm-hmm. It's like a square peg, round hole.
Right.
And you're just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
That is not. It sounds like there is even a Frostbite support team that people would have to submit tickets and questions to, and other games would get higher priority in terms of responses because, whatever. And yeah, it just sounds like, I guess to sum all this up, it's not surprising, reading this and everything that these employees tell Jason makes sense. I obviously have not even played much of Anthem besides the demo because I'm waiting for this game to get patched, hopefully, and I quite frankly don't want to touch it until it's patched. But from what I've read and from what others have said, yeah, it's like this makes sense. And it's unfortunate that this happened, but like you said, Steimer, shining a flashlight in the dark places, this is how change happens, and it's just sad. The whole thing makes me sad.
Yeah.
I just think of BioWare, back when I was just getting in the industry and they had all their little panels for Dragon Age and you'd go like meet everybody and shake hands and it was like a little tight-knit community. Now, granted, that was just Dragon Age, but I don't know. I just feel like they're losing that personable taste, that personable like front, with this kind of statement. And I hope that things just kind of flip a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah. I do too.
All right, next story, and then I promise we're going to move on to some happier things in life. GameStop is losing so much money.
Thanks. Nice headline, Destructoid. Thank you.
I know, it makes me kind of laugh. Do you want me to take this one, or do you want to take it?
Oh, sure, I can do it. You did the last sad story.
All right.
So GameStop has had its worst year ever by a large margin. This video game retailer giant is trending down in almost every area of operation, prompting its brass to concede that it needs to change its business model. For the 2018 fiscal year, GameStop posted net losses of $673 million. Net sales were down 3% to $8.29 billion. New hardware sales dropped 1%. New software is down 5%. Pre-owned game sales are plummeted and pre-owned game sales plummeted by more than 13%. Collectibles sector is the only one that showed growth, up by 11%, which is actually pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. The numbers that show that 2018 was historically unkind to games. Oh, God, wow, I can't read today. I apologize.
Fever. You're great.
It might be the light great fever / this giant bright light being shown in my eyes as I'm trying to read this. The numbers show that 2018 was historically unkind to GameStop. Prior to 2018, GameStop's worst fiscal year was in 2012 when it reported net losses of $269 million. Well, that 673 is a lot more than that. Mm-hmm. Yipes. The only other unprofitable year in GameStop's history was 2000 when the company was much smaller and lost $7 million. Wow, that is okay. Yipes. GameStop has been in dire straits for a while as the rise of digital distribution cannibalized its pre-owned sales model. The ever-shrinking used games market is alarming for GameStop, who hitched its wagon to this trend many years ago. COO and CFO Rob Lloyd. Wait, he's both?
Apparently. Like a big baller.
Two hats. Told investors, quote, "We recognize the challenges facing our pre-owned video game business and are prepared to address them as we continue to evolve our business model going forward." A while back, its board planned to sell the company, but those plans have been scrapped. The announcement that GameStop wasn't for sale caused the company's stock price to crash to a 14-year low in January. Furthermore, forecasts expect total sales to drop another 5 to 10% in 2019. On the bright side, GameStop says it has a plan to optimize logistics and operational strategies that could wind up saving the money upward of $100 million annually. However, that's not expected to make much of a dent until 2020 at the earliest. Change and profits need to come quick, though, because it very much seems as though time is not on GameStop's side.
Yikes.
Yikes indeed.
And I think
get more of those sweet, sweet collectibles, because apparently that's where the money's at.
And those numbers include GameStop's $700 million sale of Spring Mobile business, and that still didn't really do much for them. Yeah, so this is, I guess not surprising.
It's not. Especially as a lot of retail habits are transitioning more toward online versus I don't remember the last time it actually probably wasn't that long ago, but you don't go to the mall as often as you once did. Probably. Maybe you do in certain parts, but I certainly don't.
Either.
It's one of those things where now a lot of things are just on your phone, or they're just on the PlayStation, or they're on the Xbox.
On the Amazons.
Or on Amazon. There's so many options now. I don't have to go buy the thing at the store.
And, as someone who used to be a collector, which is why my house is covered in video games, just, getting older, having more obligations and responsibilities and whatnot, I don't have the want or need to get in my car, drive 15, 20 minutes to GameStop, pick up a physical edition, because now I see it as more of a burden, right? It's like I have the game case, I have the game, and then what's going to ultimately happen, because I'm a child, is I'm going to put the wrong game in the wrong game case, and then I'm not going to be able to find anything, and then it's going to be a clusterfuck, and I'll be very sad about it. It's just so much easier to keep my ass on the couch and order something and have it downloaded, and there you go. And that's just my experience, and I know I'm definitely not alone in that there are lots of other people who have gone to the digital side because of just the convenience alone. And when people do that, there's not a secondhand market shrinks, because now people don't have pre-owned physical games to turn in. So it's kind of like a domino effect. And I'm assuming that GameStop will get a boost with this PS5 and Xbox Scarlet coming up soon, but they just have to survive, and they will. But yeah,
it's better because we're in their stores now.
Okay, I know, right? Don't let us down. No, we love you guys. I hope you guys like turntable. So actually, I was looking into this, and they recently got a new CEO, and his name is George Sherman, and he wants to redefine the stores as a, quote, cultural experience. So, yeah.
Wait, like an arcade?
I don't think so. But kind of.
okay.
Well, maybe you could twist it that way.
In the sense of like,
if you twist it real hard,
it's an experience sort of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, yeah, you can twist it like that. So this is from Jeffrey Grubb at VentureBeat. He tweeted that essentially, I'm paraphrasing, there's going to be more TVs for demos. So yes, Steimer kind of like an arcade in that sense. They want to create new stores, and by that I'm assuming they're talking about different kinds of game stores. They want to make it more inviting, not as crowded, and these are changes expected to go into play starting in August. So,
and here's a question for you / to listeners, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me wonder, like, if you could say, instead of going to a PAX, instead of going to an E3, mosey on down to the game store and try a game that you've really been wanting to play, would that do it for you? Would that be an interesting experience for you?
I'm assuming that's based off the assumption that people only want to go to PAX to try the new games.
It's not that they only want to go to PAX there. It's just more of like, or for that reason. It's like I hear a lot of people being like, I go to PAX where I've now, since E3's been public, I've gone to E3 or I've gone to these events and the lines are so long, right? And you're like, oh my God, like I have to wait hours to play 5 minutes of a game. But if they had something similar where you could have a light experience like that, but in a store where there's not a line, and you can kind of just go and have a little bit more of a relaxing time. I'm wondering if that's where they're going.
Kind of. Do you think they could do something? At the mall where they have those PlayStation, not like a PlayStation. I think it's literally called Play, PLAY, and it's like a big station where you get to play games. Where like even GameWorks has it. I don't know what it's called though, where you get to go rent a TV for a little bit, play some games. Well, I guess that really wouldn't work. And then if they had unreleased, early game demos, like maybe something like you said, you could get out of PAX maybe.
Yeah, it would be the same builds as they would make for PAX or make for E3, and instead giving those to GameStops so that, Borderlands isn't out yet, but you can go to GameStop right now and try it.
They've done that with certain games, like with VR too, right? I feel like Best Buy has done stuff like that.
VR has definitely done stuff like this, especially because not everybody lives in a place where you can have a VR setup. So, like, of course, you could go and have like a really great experience at a storefront or a arcade front or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. And, the story just broke, was it last week, that Sony is no longer selling full game codes digitally. So Amazon, GameStop, they can no longer sell those games in that way. So that's just another blow. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pivot this and how it works. I mean, for a while, the system worked very well, but obviously the industry is changing, and now you have to scale back and adapt because
you got to change with it. Otherwise, you go out of business.
Otherwise, you see stuff like this, losing freaking $673 million. Huh.
Yikes.
Wow. All right. Speaking of PlayStation, I thought this was an interesting thing to bring up because it's kind of relevant to the last story. Also, during our PAX panel, someone asked a question about this in a sense. So, PlayStation Store now offers refunds on pre-orders and faulty content. And this comes from Polygon. So according to PlayStation's new cancellation policy, customers can request a refund on any pre-ordered purchases up until release day, quote, provided that you have not started downloading or streaming it. After that release date, customers can still request a refund, quote, up to 14 days after payment was taken for the pre-order, provided that you have not started downloading or streaming the content to your device. Customers can request refunds on other purchases, including full games, downloadable content, themes, avatars, and season passes within 14 days. Quote, if you started to download or stream the purchased content, you are not eligible for a refund unless the content is faulty, Sony says. The support website does not specify what constitutes as faulty content. In most cases, it appears the refunds will go back into a customer's PlayStation wallet.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure them not doing this is technically a legal issue because I don't think you're allowed to charge people until a good or service has been received or is being shipped to you in some way.
Hey, girl, you've been playing that Ace Attorney?
No, not yet. Looking forward to it. But no, so I think it's good that they've altered that. And obviously the laws are in different territories, but
yeah.
I do think it's funny that they're like, unless the content is faulty, but then they don't tell you what faulty means.
Yeah, like it doesn't work.
Right. Like, is that just like, if you bitch enough and say that you can't run it, will that work?
It's probably like
they really should have
of Monster Hunter World. Remember how faulty that shit was?
Oh, when I couldn't, but you can't prove that it didn't work like that on my Xbox.
I don't know.
So I don't know how you they should have put better guidelines around that, and
there could have been in some really, really fine print that I didn't dive into, but it's, who knows.
I mean, Polygon also didn't find it, so.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. But no, it's, because one of the questions we got at our panel was how, with digital being the future, how do you handle refunds? How do you handle XYZ? And, we said it's a hard question to answer because it depends on the kind of game, right? If it's a 300-hour game and you put 5 hours into it and you're like, this isn't for me, then maybe you have a case. But if you're playing, a Call of Duty game, which is typically a 5 to 6 hour campaign, and you get 5 hours into it, like, where's the scale there, right?
It's very, very particular. You'd have to have so many different if X then Y sort of things on your customer service sheets so that all of the representatives knew what to do.
And good luck with that. Yeah. So I guess, I think what needs to happen is people just have to start throwing their policies out there and making tweaks. And it looks like this is part of that early.
It's going to be a messy time for a while.
Strap in. All right.
Yes. All right. So
happy news.
We got a little bit of nicer news. Switch Prime subscription now comes with free Nintendo Switch Online for a year. I misread this headline at first and thought it said it gave you a free Nintendo Switch. It does not. The Twitch Prime members, though, can still claim a free 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online. You just need to, of course, sign in. I assume link those accounts and you'll get your free shit. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a whole lot of more like. Okay. I don't feel like reading.
I got you, girl.
It's just like a lot of sign up by this date and then you'll get the deal after 60 days.
We could have read the whole article by now, Steimer.
Okay, you're right.
Let's go. Okay.
Right.
So, real quick, if you go to twitch.amazon.com/Nintendo, twitch.amazon.com/Nintendo, and you have Amazon Prime, you claim 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online for free. And then after that 3 months, you can sign back in and get your additional 9 months. And they do this so you don't just create an account and then cancel it and then try to get your free 12 months. If you already
ain't nobody going to remember that 60 days. So you got to put a reminder in your phone.
That's right. If you already have Nintendo Switch Online, you can stack this. So, for example, my Nintendo Switch Online runs out, I think, December of 2020. I could take advantage of this, and now it will run out till December of 2021. So, hey, just a little nice little boost out there. It saves you $20. $20 is $20. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
you're already probably paying for Prime.
Exactly.
So, there you go.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Rumor Town Choo Choo. I have that in my notes.
Rumor Town. Chugga, 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 chugga.
Choo choo. Okay, how many chuggas do you say before you do choo choo?
Chugga, 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 choo choo.
6.
I don't know. There's a lot of chuggas.
There was a big internet debate about this earlier. All right. Persona 5, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and A Link to the Past for Switch has been listed on Best Buy.
Thank you, Best Buy.
All right, this is via IGN. U.S. retailer Best Buy has listed a Switch release of Persona 5 as well as Metroid Prime Trilogy and The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past on its internal staff-only database, according to leaks on Twitter. Photographs of computer screens displaying the database are the source of the leak, which were posted to Imgur by Gru0731 and then spread across by Mystic, a translator specializing in Persona. The image was corroborated by Wario64, who has a long history of accurate video game scoops. Wario64 then went on to upload mobile screenshots from Best Buy's system, which shows listings for Metroid Prime Trilogy and Zelda A Link to the Past. This is a large leak, but one that should be approached with caution. Persona 5 coming to Switch has long been rumored, as the teaser website for P5S suggests that a Switch version of Atlus's JRPG hit is not out of the question. More information will be revealed on April 25th, and there's much less to suggest that the Metroid Prime Trilogy and A Link to the Past are based in truth. The database allegedly already includes a listing for Link's Awakening, suggesting Best Buy has not confused Nintendo's upcoming remake for A Link to the Past, but there's no announcements or rumors of another Zelda remake or remaster that we can point to. And also, LOL Metroid Prime Trilogy, that would be amazing and awesome, but who knows. Okay, and then several hours earlier today, which is Wednesday the 3rd, these were all removed from the Core Blue system, Best Buy's little internal system, but are still listed in the RSS. I feel like I'm saying so many S's today because I have my damn Invisalign in. I feel like the world...
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
So regarding this Persona thing, do I have that? Oh, I don't have it in here. Shit.
What?
The Persona 5S stuff. I thought I had it. Okay, have you heard about it?
No, but I mean, I kind of get the gist.
Okay, so basically, yeah, there's a festival, is it a Persona festival? Something going on right now. And on April 24th, we're getting the Persona 5 Royal scoop. And then on the 25th, we're getting this Persona 5S scoop. And so obviously the thought is, hey, this is going to be Persona 5 coming to Switch. Oh my God. Also, Joker's coming to Smash by the end of this month. He still hasn't been on there, so it would make sense if Joker's coming to Smash on Switch. Also, he and the whole crew's coming to Switch as well. Some people are saying...
What if it's just P5S is just P5 Smash and it's not Switch?
Oh my God.
It's probably not.
That would make me
would be funny.
So sad. There's, oh, here we go. I have it right here. So the website in question, here we go.
Yeah.
The website in question, p5s.jp, suggests that, quote, one more information will be revealed on the 25th of April, which so happens to be the second day of a Persona Super Live concert taking place in Tokyo. Gamatsu discovered...
I want to go!
I know! So Gamatsu has discovered a hidden calling card on the site, which reads as follows. This is the calling card. April 25th, 2019, we will show you a new Phantom Thieves that will turn the world's cognition on its head. We are energized by voices that seek satisfaction. Once again, we will take your heart at the, I'm going to fuck this up, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Ryogoku Kokyugikan from the Phantom Thieves. So anyway, yes. Steimer, do you think we're getting Persona 5 on the Switch?
I don't know. And I don't know. I'm like trying to think about the calling card and talking about voices, and I'm like, I wonder if it's like a weird Persona 5 spinoff for the Switch,
right?
And not actually Persona 5.
Some folks think it could be another weird dancing game or a fighting game.
Because of the voices part is like, and it's talking about cognition being different.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it would be a straight port. I honestly have no idea.
We are energized by voices that seek satisfaction. I mean, we are voices that seek satisfaction, and I'd love Persona 5 on my Switch.
Maybe. I mean, that could be. It could be talking about the internet voices.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, I think I loved Persona on my Vita, so I like Persona games on handheld-ish devices.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to play this game again, so it doesn't make a huge difference to me.
It took you so long to finish the first time.
I know, exactly. So, but if you hadn't played it yet and you have a Switch, like, I'm stoked for you.
God.
Go play, like, absolutely get it if this becomes a thing. Because I think it's just the perfect game to play on a handheld.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll find out about 3 weeks, actually. So we'll have to hold tight and clutch on to our butts. Or hold on to our butts.
Hold on to your butts.
And finally, just a few little more tidbits of news, some of which kind of broke last week, but we recorded on Tuesday of last week, so we missed some stuff. Mainly, something I want to just briefly touch on. Via GameSpot, Monolith Soft, the developer of the Xenoblade Chronicles series, is hiring for a new Legend of Zelda game. Ha ha ha. The studio has put out a call on its website for programmers, designers, and other roles to apply. Monolith Soft is no stranger to Legend of Zelda as it co-developed Skyward Sword and, more recently, Breath of the Wild. So
is it just me, or is Monolith Soft like the weirdest name?
It's a really fucking weird name. I don't know if it has any meaning, but I mean...
I know what a monolith is, but soft.
But soft? Like, I mean, I guess you can't really call it Monolith hard.
No.
Monolith rigid. Anyway.
I'm like, what is... Oh, software probably is what it means. Wow, that took me a minute. But I'm just like, but just to call it soft is like...
Is it kind of like Squaresoft was back in the day?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, like, I like how our mind just went to the same place.
My mind went to like a squishy substance. Yes. Indeed, pillow time.
Anyway.
Pillow time. All right, other thing I'm going to talk about.
No, I'm not done talking about this yet. Don't rush me.
Oh,
listen,
sorry.
Steimer, I love you, girl, but we're only like an hour and 10 minutes into this. We got to fucking milk it. Okay. So.
Go for it.
Thanks.
Tell me about Zelda and how excited you are.
Okay. Happily, I live for these.
Didn't you not like Skyward Sword and you weren't that keen on Breath of the Wild?
Right. It's complicated. So, no,
so
I wasn't.
You kind of don't want anything from Legend of Zelda from these people.
No, I want lots of things from these people. I think they created... Okay. I don't know exactly what their role was in Skyward Sword, but I know with Breath of the Wild they worked on the topography of the huge landscape, and they're really good at that. So I'm excited for Monolith Soft to come back, because what that tells me is that they're working on probably a very large, expansive game yet again, which is something I want. And my hope and dream for this next Zelda game is that it brings back dungeons and some of the more traditional aspects of Zelda that I have known to love in my 25 years of playing Zelda games, or however old I was. Anyway, yeah, so I think this next game, because we have Link's Awakening coming, we have obviously the mashup between the dancing game and whatever, that's great. But we need
whatever that's
great.
Sure,
it's more Zelda. I'll happily play it. I don't even ask questions. So obviously, there has to this new expansive Zelda games is in works in some capacity, and maybe it's along farther than we think it is. But I think it's going to work off of the foundation set by Breath of the Wild. I mean, why not? Why not? I think that's a huge, beautiful world that can be reused in some capacity. Maybe they make it pre-apocalypse, maybe where everything's alive and thriving and well. Anyway, I'm talking pipe dream here, but I just hope that, I think this means we're getting another big expansive Zelda game, obviously along the lines of Breath of the Wild. Maybe it's a prequel, maybe it's a little bit of a sequel, maybe it's like Breath of the Wild 1.5 or 2, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, exciting stuff. It's probably not, if I'm being super duper Britney, I'm going to say holiday 2020, but haha, probably not. But I'll call that right now.
I have no idea when they start. Yeah, it's hard to tell when you don't know when they started on a project.
Probably a long time ago. Anyway.
A long time ago. So well, it couldn't have been that long ago because they just did Breath of the Wild.
In 2017, but I'm sure, I mean, that was...
Shit, it was that... Really?
Yeah, it came out March 2017. It launched alongside the Switch.
Oh my god. Where does time go?
Was it March or February? I want to say it was March. Anyway, March. One or the other. So yeah, I mean, 2020 would be, 3.5 years. Holiday. All right.
My God. All right. I know how much you love Human Fall Flat, so you can say this if you want, or I could just read it.
Can you read it to me, and I'll be really happy while you do.
Human Fall Flat's free, quote unquote, not quote, dark level, inspired by, quote, horror movies like the Universal classic Monsters, Beetlejuice, and A Nightmare Before Christmas, comes to console on April 16th.
Hell yeah. So we played this during one of our Patreon after hours streams, and we were all slightly intoxicated. But this is one of my favorite co-op games to play. You're these little blobby ragdoll physics dudes, and it's just pure chaos, and it's hilarious. I laughed until I may have tinkled my pants a little bit.
Yes. Actually, I think the art style, if you can call it that, lends itself well to like A Nightmare Before Christmas, like a claymation sort of a thing. And the Beetlejuice, like I could see the fuck, I forget what they're called, but the worms, the sandworms, whatever. I forget. But anyways, I can see this working very well is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and if you haven't played Human Fall Flat, you should. It's hilarious. It's a good co-op game. And they said No Breaks Games, I believe is the developer, said that there are more content upgrades to come in 2019. Give me more levels. Thank you. Oh, right. Steimer.
Yeah.
I think we have covered
a
lot of news.
We're finally done.
We are finally done with this big-ass news section. So you know what that means.
It means it's time to take a break.
It's time to take a break so we can talk about what we've been playing. We will be right back. Welcome back to the What's Good Games podcast. This is the second segment where we talk about what we've been playing.
But first, let me tell you a little bit about our lovely sponsor, Calm, who is bringing you this week's hands-on impressions. So, stress is a worldwide epidemic. We're working longer hours, we're inundated with the constant news cycle, and we're more connected than ever before. Stress is a part of life, but it can very easily affect our overall well-being. That's why we're partnering with Calm, the /1 app to help you reduce your anxiety and your stress and help you sleep better. More than 40 million people around the world have downloaded it. And if you head to calm.com/whatsgood, you'll get 25% off a Calm premium subscription, which includes guided meditations on issues like anxiety, stress, and focus, including a brand new meditation each day. And there's also sleep stories, which are bedtime stories for adults designed to help you relax. Head to the magical lavender fields of southern France with Stephen Fry, or explore the moonlit jungles of Africa with Fiona Lewis. They even have soothing music and more. So I find stuff like this actually really helpful, and it's one of the things I've been trying to bake more into my day-to-day work cycle, just because every now and then you need to take a mental break and you need to just sort of disconnect, have a minute of downtime, and I find that it really does help me. And I also love anything that's going to help me fall asleep because I often do have issues turning off my brain and trying to relax as I'm going to bed. So if that sounds appealing to you, right now, What's Good Games listeners get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/what'sgood. That's calm.com/what'sgood. So you get unlimited access to all of Calm's content today at calm.com/what'sgood. Get calm and stop stressing.
Oh, man. I think we all need a little bit of that in our lives.
Absolutely.
Especially when you have back-to-back conventions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Miss Christine Steimer.
That is me.
You have been playing, you and I have been playing some stuff together. But before we get to that, it looks like you've been doing some Oxenfree and more Celeste.
Yeah. So, I've been traveling. I was basically been on the road the last 2 weeks of this month. I haven't been home. So I haven't been able to play anything except stuff on my Switch. So when I left, I was like, you know what? I somehow have never played Oxenfree, and I keep hearing, I've heard so much about it, and I've always meant to play it, and I just never did. And I thought it would be the perfect game to play on a plane. Well, the funny part is that Oxenfree, it is a good game to play, but it is a little freakier than I originally imagined. I think I kind of went into it a little bit blind. I knew it was sort of adventure gamey, but not really, more of like a visual novel sort of a thing. Maybe light puzzles, like that kind of style. I knew sort of what I was getting into, but I didn't know the story behind it. And it turns out it's a little bit freakier than I thought it would be. And so basically the general premise is and I won't go too deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything, but you go to Edwards Island, which is, it's in Washington State, I believe, yes?
I don't know. I never
I'm pretty sure it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Edwards Island is, I'm pretty sure, a real place.
Oh, I know that.
Let me Google it.
See?
Maybe I'm talking out my ass.
Edwards Island?
Oh, maybe it's in Canada. I'm thinking of Prince Edward Island in Canada. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so this might be a fake island. But anyways, with a somewhat similar name to a real place in real life. You and your friends go to like basically drink on the beach at night and have fun, super fun high school party times. And one of the things you bring there is a radio because your friend has said, oh, like there's some weird shit in the caves and like you can kind of tune in and it's weird and like sort of freaky, but whatever. And like, which is such a high school thing to do. It's just like, oh, like, oh, there's this weird thing. And it's like, bleh, but let's go do it. Let's go check it out.
Kids,
go do something dangerous. Yeah. And then you go do that and crazy shit ensues. And you go through the story trying to figure out what the hell is going on. The game's sort of like has a little, it's not super jump scare, but like there are definitely times where like the music in combination with like sort of glitching on purpose, it freaked me out. And I actually like jumped a little bit on the plane because there was one part where it was sort of doing the weird like glitchy thing at me, and the plane was having turbulence and the lights were flickering. And I was like, what's happening?
This is where I die.
Kind of. I was like, well, I might die here, but that's okay. There are worse ways to go, maybe. I'm not sure.
Playing
but
video games, I guess, isn't a bad way.
Playing video games on the way down is probably how I'd want to go because at least I'm distracted.
Perfect.
Anyways, I did really like the game. It's one of those games that you can play again. It's sort of designed to be played multiple times. But
you finished it?
I finished it. Yeah, it's not that long.
Oh, okay.
It's like I want to say like 5-6 hours. And you can replay it. I did not, because I tend to not do that nowadays. I just don't. I don't know. Sorry, developers, but I still really enjoyed it. And I think if you like sort of, I hate calling it a visual novel, but it is sort of that. The only gripe I really had with it, and that's part of why I didn't play it again, actually, to be honest, is I didn't love the way it ran. There's too many loading screens. You walk too slowly. Like, it just sort of felt like it was chugging along a little bit in that respect. And I don't quite understand. Maybe it's because of the animation time, but they had this really pretty, it's 2D art. but then there's 3D models for the characters. I assume that is because it's easier to rig a character model and have animation done that way through 3D than it is to hand animate, a 2D sprite. But I kind of wish they had. I kind of wish, especially because the screen is zoomed so far out, the 3D models they don't really look like anything. It's kind of like they're just sort of. I mean, you understand who they are because of the hair color for the most part.
Oh.
But they're like little ants on the screen.
I think I remember playing Oxenfree on the Switch, but it was so small that it kind of turned me off a bit.
The smallness is kind of weird. I haven't gotten to play their new game. So the studio, I believe, is called Night School, and they have the game After Party that's coming out. Andrea we're talking about. I saw it briefly. I didn't stand in line to play it at PAX, but from what I peeped over people's shoulders and looked, it doesn't look like it has that same issue of Oxenfree. It looks like it's much more zoomed in. I couldn't tell if it was 3D models or if they were all 2D sprites. Did you play it?
I saw it in action, but admittedly, I wasn't paying attention to that.
Okay, well, it's not a super big deal. But anyways, that was the one, my major drawback / feedback on Oxenfree was kind of traversing the world was a bit of more of a pain in the ass than I wanted it to be. And it just felt like technically it didn't run super crisp. It wasn't the best.
After Party looks really good, though. I'm pretty sure it's 3D now that I'm thinking about it. But
3D models, 3D models, 2D background.
I think so. Oxenfree came out when? That was It
was a while ago.
2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And I just now got around to playing it.
Hey, listen, you finished another game, Steimer. You should be very proud of yourself.
And I'm so close to finishing one more game.
Oh boy!
Which is also on my Switch. It's called Celeste.
Oh my God, you're still going at it. I love you.
So what happened was, I finally was like, you know what? I need to bite the fucking bullet. I need to put this on baby-ass baby mode. And I need to get through this damn game.
Did you put it on baby-ass baby mode?
So here's how this happened.
Uh-oh.
So I jump in, and I, of course, can't let go fully at first.
Yeah.
I'm too broken in the mind. So what I do is I just add another dash, because like you can go in and like sort of adjust as you go. So I went in and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give myself 2 dashes and I'll play through that way. And I did like another level with just 2 dashes or another chunk, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Then I get to the next one and I'm like, dear God, what is this? And I make it through a decent chunk with just the 2 dashes. But then I'm like, there's no fucking way that I can do this. So then I go ahead and I think I threw on invincibility. I was like, you know what?
Yes.
The passageways that you had to like navigate through, I did not have enough precision in my little dinky Joy-Con stick to like, I'm like, you're gotta be kidding me. All I play my Switch is in handheld mode. I don't ever dock it. I don't ever use the Pro Controller. I don't have the finesse required to make it through this game like this. So I'm sorry, because I was like, fuck it, invisibility, let's go. Invincibility, not invisibility. And went through like that for a while. And then I made it through like another couple levels. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm adding all of the dashes. So now I can just dash everywhere, go, I'm invincible, and I'm like, this game is so fucking fun now. And it's so weird how much my perception has shifted of that game just by making it easier. And like just by changing some of those sliders, it was sort of interesting and magical in a way. And I think it's sort of funny because there's a lot of conversation right now about Sekiro and whether or not adding accessibility to something, I think in a way takes away what the core design goal was for that creative team. And I think Celeste is a fantastic example of something that is brutally hard and yet also accessible. And I don't think one negates the other. And I don't think that there is any one right way to play a video game or to experience a video game. And I don't think any video game creators would agree with that either. I don't think even the makers of Sekiro would say that there is only one correct way to do what they've created. And not only that, kind of F everyone who says that, because like there's so many ways to cheese a boss or like to go around. Like there's so many things like that where like, yes, you can make it easier. It's just not intended to be that way because it's just something that the fucking programmer didn't realize you would do as a gamer. And so they didn't fix it. Like, and I've done that even in like in Crackdown, there was this one weird boss that was like strangely harder than all the others.
Mhm.
And I was texting Jackie and I was like, what the fuck, man? And she's like, oh, just go to this corner.
Oh, that's
They can't-
amazing.
I was like, they can't get you there. And I'm like, that's what video games are in a way. Like
Yeah.
there's always a way to try and find and make it more accessible. It's just not necessarily something that is widely talked about or like as it's not talked about as an accessibility thing.
Right.
And but it is.
It's like if you can find a way to easily defeat a boss, I feel like most people would do that. I think about this boss in Asheron's Call, and there's a boss called, oh god, was it Garland? No, not Garland. Maybe? I don't remember who it was. Anyway, Jason and I had to defeat him. In order to do that, I had to trap him in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to run down the stairs, trap him in a corner, and just like take out the damage while Jason, who was playing a mage, stood far behind me and was just blasting him with his magic. Like that's like the only way we were able to do it. But it's part of the fun of it. I'm right there with you, girl. I get it.
Yeah, like there's different. Everyone has a strategy. Hell, okay, even in the world's quote unquote easiest game, Viva Pinata. You know what I fucking did? I cheesed the hell out of that game.
Yeah.
I went and I built a fence around Professor Pester so he couldn't get into my garden. You built like you could build the fence so like it's trapping him right outside of the edge of your garden.
Oh
and I fucking did that. I was like, screw you. You are fucking up my shit. I do not approve of it. And I trapped him. The only negative to that is that he sat there and just groaned for like the entire, like the rest of the time I played the game. Because he makes weird noises. He's like, "Rah,
well,
rah."
every
He makes
action
weird noises at
has
you.
a reaction. Steimer,
Yes. And so that was, I cheesed the game, but as penance, I had to sit there and listen to him
groaning.
for like another 50 hours.
Would you say now you are more apt to turning on baby ass baby mode in games? Have you crossed the bridge?
It depends on the game, and it depends on how I'm feeling. I think why I definitely changed it on Celeste is, number one, I'm on an airplane. I actually did cuss at one point, which is when I turned it down the first time. Because I was like, there's people around. Maybe I shouldn't be like almost throwing this thing across
oh my god, amazing.
the aisle. And I think in certain games, I just want to feel powerful. And in other games, I'm kind of okay with the slow ramp up that it tends to be in games. So, I mean, it just depends. I do think accessibility is not a thing that needs to be questioned. I think it's something that should be for everyone. Like, get more people to play your games. I don't see the issue with it. All it is doing is, number one, potentially providing more sales, which is getting a healthier business, which is making your studio healthier, which is making everybody happier because you can then go on to create more new, better things. I don't see any harm in a lot of, like, I think a lot of the criticisms coming, or not criticisms, but the argument, the defense is, don't make a creator change their vision. And like I kind of already said before, I don't think it's anyone's vision to exclude people to be, and so, and in the sense of like an ableist way. And I also think that when you say that, it sort of infers that there's only one way to experience a piece of art, and there's only one true interpretation of it. And I think that is inherently wrong.
Yeah, it's a fascinating conversation, and so many people are getting so upset over it. I think their perspective is, if you've beaten a From Software game, if you've done all of the demons and the Bloodborns and the Sekiros and blah blah blahs, that you talk to someone, you're like, did you beat that game? Yeah, I beat it. Did you beat it? Oh yeah, we're on the same page now. Woo!
Sure, it's sort of like a badge of honor
but
for
I
them.
don't. Right, but I agree with you. You don't have to create the vision. I mean, and this is coming from two people who don't have any accessibility issues, when it comes to
of course,
playing games. I just want maybe less damage dealt to me, or maybe more health or something, and I don't understand what that would take away from other players. I guess I don't understand why other players would care if that's what it takes for me to give money to the studio that you love and appreciate so much. When you say don't make it any easier, or don't add in an easier option. For a lot of people are turned off because you see the tweets, you see the, oh, I yelled at this game and it's so frustrating, but then you also see that, but when I finally beat that boss, it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to experience that myself, but do I want to pay $60 for an experience that I know I'm probably gonna get real frustrated at and walk away? Anyway. Yeah.
No, but it's actually interesting. It is an interesting point because I don't remember whose Twitter I saw this on, so apologies. I think it was a reporter. I could be mistaken. But they basically were like, actually, the point of any From Software game is not that it's just hard for the sake of being hard. Mm-hmm. What it is they wanted to capture that feeling of perseverance and reward for like trying and trying and trying again. Mm-hmm. And getting it, and like that feeling that you get when you finally have accomplished this thing you've been working toward.
Yeah.
And that is the inherent, that's the base of the game.
Right.
However, to say that can only be achieved through this one method doesn't make a lot of sense. You can achieve that multiple ways.
Yeah.
And you especially can achieve that multiple ways when we're talking about accessibility for, people who can't see or can't hear quite well, whatever your issue is. Like, there should be different ways where you can get a similar feeling and still appreciate the thing that is being put in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to have a discussion with someone who, is, I don't want to piss off anyone, who's level-minded and isn't saying this game needs to be the same or it needs to retain the difficulty just for the sake of it. I'd like to know, why is it so important to you to close?
It's gatekeeping.
Yeah, but again,
it's gatekeeping, and it's gatekeeping through the lens of creative license that they're using it. So that's the weapon, right? Is like, no, let the creators create what they want to. And yes, of course, I don't think anyone is saying otherwise. But what we're trying to say is creators maybe think about how other people who maybe are different than you can also have a similar experience. We're basically just asking for expanded minds.
Yeah. And
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong if From Software is like, no.
Yeah.
We're gonna just, we hear you, but we, for whatever reason, don't feel like doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, we won't buy or play your game. That's fine. Like, no harm, no foul.
And I'm
whatever.
assuming there hasn't been a statement from them put out. But, they have made a lot of games, and they haven't added that difficulty yet. So it's kind of obvious at this point that it's not really a priority. And, hey, that's their vision. Like, that's fine. I think the issue comes in when we talk about the potential for something easier. Like, and then everyone's like, no, it'd be terrible and awful. It's like, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, and again, and those are the same. I mean, they might not be the exact same people, but there are things that exist to make these games easier already. You go to this corner, you spam this thing, you do whatever. They already exist.
Listen, we all just need to bring back the Game Shark. Action replay.
Or like
Genie.
the game hint hotline. Like, where you had to pay.
Where you would call
25 cents an hour, baby.
I never used those. But I
never did either, because my parents would have straight up murdered me.
Oh no. And you and I have been here today, and I've been really sad about it. Well, I am happy that you made progress. Did you finish Celeste?
Not quite. I think I have like one or two more areas.
Look at you, finishing these games left and right.
I know, man. It's crazy. Who am I? You
stud muffin. I am still. Well, okay. I'm becoming less obsessed with my time at Portia. I'm still. You weren't here the last time I talked about this, were you? No, you were.
I know a little bit about it.
Okay.
From just talking. I think maybe it was at PAX you were talking about it. But...
Yeah. So I won't recap it because I talked about it last week. But the more I'm playing this game, the more I'm noticing that. And again, I'm still not technically allowed to review it. I'm only previewing it, and can't review it until the 16th. But anyway.
Sure.
The more I'm noticing that it needs some polish and some work. I mean, I've talked about the loading screens and how they can be really annoying, but hey, like, I'll take a semi-long loading screen if I'm enjoying the hell out of this game. No problem. There's still tons to do, lots of characters, but like an instance at this point. This was the moment where I was like, okay, maybe I can just sit this down for a couple days. I was at a festival because there are festivals in this game, and
I thought you meant in real life.
oh no,
I was like, when did you go to a festival?
I mean, Portia kind of is my real life now. It's fine. And it was a fall festival, and there are, I don't know, like 50 characters in this game. There's a lot, which is really exciting because I love that. And I love building relationships with the characters and making them liking me by giving them objects and seeing what new things they
Do
have
you
to
hold
say.
the thing over your head like in Stardew Valley where you're just holding a giant ass carrot?
No,
and
you
throw
actually
it
like hold it in your hand depending on what it is. It actually makes sense, which is like kind of cool.
I kind of liked the ridiculousness of holding the present above
Over
my
your
head.
and it'd be like
a giant egg that if in real life it were to scale would be the size of my head.
So good. And I was at the festival, and I'm talking to people there. And I talked to, Alice. She does flowers. She sells flowers. And,
of course she does.
Yeah. And she's like, hi, have you seen my flowers today? They're really fresh, and they're right here. And I'm like, no, bitch. You are not at your flowers. You are literally, like, right here at this festival. And even I think about Story of Season games or even other games along this line, Stardew Valley, where the characters have specific lines of dialogue for the festival they're at. It just helps with that immersion. And then I would talk to the mayor, who quite
how
frankly,
no one wants to dance with you in Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's just like at least they're not talking about their flowers that aren't there. And then I talked to the mayor, and he's like, "Oh, my daughter Ginger is waiting for me at home. I need to get to her after work." And like, you say this literally every day I see you, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. And so I'm seeing some instances of this where it's just like I feel like I'm talking to these characters, I'm building these relationships, but I'm not getting any feedback in terms of like positive feedback or reinforcement, I guess is what you would say. And in a game like this, that's really, really important because those characters are what makes these kind of games so interesting, getting to know who you're going to marry, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm still having fun with it, but I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I can look for the next thing. And, it was a really hot, fast burn, and I would still recommend so far, keeping an eye on it. There might be some patches coming out that might fix some of these issues. But yeah, I'll probably continue to play it, and then who knows, I might just be talking on my ass. But anyway, the other game I've been playing is Yoshi's Crafted World.
Is it as cute as I think it is?
It's really fucking cute. And talking about baby mode, this is like the ultimate baby mode. I'm on the normal mode. It's like you don't die in this game at all. You fall, even if you're playing.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, you just fall off a cliff. You just get like re-emerged as a big egg with wings, and you hover around, and then like your partner will.
Is there a harder mode?
No, this is it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's
there's an easier mode.
Yes. There's
what is the easier mode?
I don't even know. I truly can't even. Maybe you have more health.
I mean, it's probably, kids, like, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
sometimes they need a bit more help.
I mean, this one is like entry level, but yeah, maybe people need more help with it. Yeah, so it's really fucking cute. It's really charming. It is a little frustrating to play with another person because I feel like the levels weren't designed with two people in mind. Because there are instances where, okay, so there's a few quirks to this that make it kind of annoying. For one, if you jump like by your partner, your Yoshi automatically sits on your partner's back. And when that happens, so let's say like Steimer's a Yoshi and I'm a Yoshi. We're Yoshis. Woohoo. Steimer jumps.
Double Yoshi.
Yeah. I have 5 eggs. Steimer has 5 eggs. It's wonderful. She hops on my back. I cannot use my eggs now.
What do you mean? As like ammo?
Yeah, so okay, I should probably back up. So if you've played a Yoshi game before, like Yoshi's Story was my first foray into these games on Super Nintendo. Oh, Yoshi's Island, excuse me. And yeah, you have eggs and then you chuck them and it's like ammo. And then you have this like little thing, you get to aim and you shoot.
Is it like Birdo?
Kind of. Think of it
or
that
you're not
way.
shooting them out of your mouth.
You're chucking it with your arm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Little baby Yoshi arms?
Baby Yoshi arms, yeah. Or unless it's his tail, but I feel like it would be his arm. I haven't really paid attention, but I'm assuming, because he's not doing it with his butt or his mouth, so I'm assuming it's an arm. So, and what's cool about this one is that you can throw it, it's 3D in the sense that you can throw it toward the camera or away from the camera or on the level middle plane that Yoshi's walking on. Okay, so what happens if someone hops on you, you cannot access your eggs. And in frantic, hectic moments, if you're like getting ready to aim or throw something and someone hops on you, it cancels out the movement. Well, then you might say, well, just avoid hopping on each other. It's almost impossible to do. And I was reading some other reviews and people also talked about this because the platforms, again, aren't necessarily made for 2 people. And
Sure.
So you're constantly like hopping on each other, and not only that, when you do the Yoshi thing and you stick your big old sticky tongue out and you try to eat something, if you swallow your partner loses all of their eggs. And now you can
even when you spit them back out.
When you spit them back out,
do you absorb them?
You absorb. Okay, so it happens like if you I'm not gonna say it. I almost.
If you eat your partner in a wink.
If you eat your partner, their eggs will become anyone's eggs, and they become little objects on the platform where anyone can run into and pick them up. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
But most of the time, when you're like sticking your tongue out furiously trying to eat all the enemies around you, chances are you're going to accidentally eat your partner, and then you're going to run into their eggs, and then you spit your partner back out. Now they don't have any eggs. It's fucking weird, man.
So
okay.
I'm wondering what the design purpose of jumping on each other's backs is. Is it supposed to have been if your kid was having... Here's the part that confuses me.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, kid, you're having trouble, hop on my back.
Right.
But now they're the only one who can shoot anything because they're the only one with access to eggs. And shooting things would be harder to do than to run it on a platform.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. And then the eating each other doesn't really make any sense to me that they even programmed that into the game.
I think it's in there because then you can spit your partner out, and then it acts as a missile or as an egg. I'm sorry, you can destroy enemies by that.
Okay.
But I wish you could turn those options off because, I mean, Jason and I play a lot of co-op games together, but I will say he's better at some games. I am really good at these like little platformers, and granted, that's not saying a lot. It's when you're talking about Yoshi's Crafted World. But hey, I like to just zip through them real quick. I don't really care too much about the collectibles, which we'll talk about in a second. I just kind of want to like go from point A to point B, next level. Thank you very much. And
wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, and he'll tend to be kind of like careless, and he'll like, I was gonna say, fuck it, who cares? He'll like eat me, and then he'll like spit me out, and then I get mad. Or then he'll hop on my back, or I'll hop on his back, and then it's frustrating, and I get mad and frustrated at him, and I call him names. It's all out of love, though. So, okay, that's my experience as a disgruntled 30-year-old. I'm sure if you have children, this will be a very fun game. You can take it very slow. You don't have to zip through it like I do. But just be aware that that's, like, kind of an annoying thing. But, yeah, it's so fucking cute, and it's so charming, and it's just a feel-good, easy-ass game that if you're like, I want to pick something up, I can only do maybe, like, there's 40 levels total, and then I think you unlock a few extra at the end. I can do maybe, like, 7 or 8 at a time, and then I'm like, max. I'm like, okay, this is fun. I've had enough. And then by the next night, I'm ready to hop back into it and see how cute and charming, what have they come up with next kind of thing.
Sure.
And so there's collectibles. You have the smiley flowers that you get, and you have to turn, like, 10 to 15 in every time you want to advance to a new section of the map. So you have to collect those. There's red coins you have to collect. You can do each level backwards. I think it's each level or most levels backwards, trying to find the 3 poochies, which are the dogs.
Ruff, ruff.
Yeah, they're really cute. And so it's really fun to play the game in the backwards mode or behind everything because it's all cardboard. And you see all the tape and how the cardboard's made. It's just so fucking cute, and that's why I can't be mad at it. I'm just like, it's too cute. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you have kids, or if you have someone who casual platformer loves Yoshi, definitely check it out. There's a demo available on the Switch shop, so try that first.
Go eat each other. Wink.
Go eat each other and spit each other out and get all them eggs, girl. Okay.
Yeah, get them eggs.
So fucking weird. I didn't realize how weird this would sound to actually describe, but it's fine.
Out of context things are always interesting.
We got through it. Okay, so the last game we want to talk about is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So at PAX East, Steimer and I sat down with Jason. I'm going to fuck your name up, Jason. Doswa.
Who knows? I don't know.
He's the narrative director, a very, very, very kind man. And we got to do 2 challenge tombs together. So the first one was from the DLC 6 called The Grand Cayman, which is available now. And then the next one was from DLC 7 called The Path Home, which is coming out April 19th. So the Grand Cayman, here's the description. Go toe-to-toe with an angry god. In order to protect the San Juan villagers from the aggression of Trinity, Lara Croft must hunt the mercenaries off their chosen turf, face the towering wrath of a volcanic new challenge tomb, and survive the lethal surprise concealed within. So we did the challenge tombs together.
Yes. We did them co-op.
We did them co-op.
They were great.
We did. So there's exploration mode, but what was the name of the mode we did? Where
We did. Oh my god.
You collect the shinies. Time? No,
it was it's like a timed or ranked mode. I don't remember exactly what the title is, but essentially what it means is in exploration mode you can kind of like take your time, look around, it's fine. In this other mode that I'm just going to call ranked because I don't quite remember it, is you have shiny orbs basically throughout this entire level that slightly direct you in where you need to go, and also as you collect the orbs they give you points. If you, in at least one of them, I don't know if it was in both because neither of us did it, you can like shoot lanterns that are in there, which then give you like a multiplier, and basically you're supposed to rack up as many points as possible and be big boy on campus sort of a thing.
Yeah, get in the leaderboards.
Yeah, so it's like more of a leaderboard mode, but the benefit of doing it and why we did it is, even though that's not normally the way either of us would really play this, is because it would help guide you through the level and like sort of show you where you needed to go. And in some cases it shows you, or you can kind of get hints of like off path sort of ways you can go. So shortcuts. There was this one part. This may have been in the second. I don't remember which one this was in.
I think it was
honestly.
in this one because the fire. There's lots of fire.
Yeah, the fire. There was a lot of fire, and like it's all timed, and you're supposed to run through it. But halfway through running through it, there was a thing off to the side, and I saw it, and I was like, screw this, and I went off and like YOLO'd onto the zip line.
The zip line. Yeah, so Challenge Tomb, I did the first one with Jason. I was at last year. So you're Lara Croft, and then your partner's also Lara Croft, but on your screen they appear as, oh god, what's her name? It's been a long time since I played this game.
Other chick.
The other girl. Yeah. Badass girl. Anyway, you have to work cooperatively to solve puzzles, to run through the tombs. Like Steimer was saying, there's branching paths. There's no like one way to do this. The thing that she was just talking about was this like corridor of flames and fire that would come out. You know, it was on a timed thing, so you had to make sure you timed it just right. Otherwise, you would turn into, what do we call her, Laura Crisp or something?
Yes, Laura Crisp.
Laura Crisp. So, you know, you have time things like that. You have other things where you have to jump on platforms and then shoot the rope, and then you have to shimmy on the ledges. So it's your typical Tomb Raider platforming, I guess is how you could describe it, but co-op.
Yeah.
So if one of you dies, though, both of you have to start over.
You both start over. That was sort of annoying. Granted, neither of us are terrible at the game, so it was fine. But there was definitely a couple parts where we both were like, fuck, whoops. All right.
Well, yeah, because there's a jump in particular that I can think of. This may have been from the Path Home DLC when you are discovering the ultimate secret of the Yaxel. Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the aftermath of the final battle, Lara Croft must track down her missing allies through ancient tunnels, and there's another challenge too. And in that one, there's a jump that you have to make, and Steimer made it. The first like 2 times
it's like a jump, and then you have to like latch and then
the grapple
swing and then jump. The grapple jump.
So it was the thing where Steimer would make it, I wouldn't make it, I would make it, Steimer wouldn't make it, and so you have to get your timing down pat. But and we did have Jason sitting behind us kind of guiding us and telling us what to do. But I do like the level of difficulty in the sense that you can sit down, you got to look around a little bit. Okay, how do we figure this out, work together? And I understand in these demos you have to get people moving. So before we really had a chance to like noodle things together, for the most part he would give us the solution, but
he'd give us a hint. He'd be like, maybe we should look at the statue. And you're like, oh, okay, sure. The DLC 6 was more, I would say, like traditional platformy Lara Croft, and DLC 7 was more puzzly, which I liked.
We had that big statue.
And required a lot of like coordination. Yeah, which was good.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed both of this. It was funny. We walked in, before you got there, they were like, have you played any of the DLC? And I was like, nope, but I beat the game. Sorry. I did not play any of this stuff before. I think like the biggest appeal is if you have Jason, and not the same Jason, your husband Jason, who you like play co-op things with, but for the most part I don't. And I think I see a lot of fun in this being like, oh, this is sort of my co-op Tomb Raider experience that I never really got to have in the main game. So that's nice if you have a co-op buddy or somebody you want to play with.
It's online matchmaking, so And, you know, like we were talking about earlier, the time thing or the score, whatever the name of that trial was, where you collect the shinies and you have the multiplayer bonuses and stuff. The whole point is you play through these things. If you're a speedrunner, you know, you can go through this multiple times, learn all the paths, and then really make your path efficient and optimize your time. So if you want to try to get those, you know, because our first time, I think we did real bad. But, you know.
Bad is relative.
Well, I mean, we were slow. But
yeah,
of course, when you get a lot
slow,
of points.
We were figuring it out.
Yeah, because that was our first time going through. But if you're into that kind of stuff, there's a lot of replayability in the sense that you can figure out, you know, the most efficient path and get your name on the big boy leaderboards.
Yes.
If that's what you're into. But yeah, this is it was fun to play. Steimer and I did pretty good. I would say we communicated well. We only yelled at each other a few times. We sang songs.
Yes. We did. We talked about how lava is good for the pores.
Oh, that's right. Lava is good for the pores. We gave Laura some names like Laura Crisp because she got fried a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of lava in one of the levels.
Yeah, the volcano one, the Grand Cayman, I think.
Yeah. It
happens.
That was rip. A lot of rip.
A lot of rip in pieces. But no, it was a really good time. And, you know, if you have a co-op partner, I would recommend checking them out. It was fun. Well, Steimer.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about the buttload of news. We've talked... Oh, and if you're wondering about our PAX East games that we played, we talked about those in the panel that, again, was uploaded earlier this week as a special episode. I got to go hands-on with Divinity Fallen Heroes, which is, oh my god, so good. But that game is not coming out for a very, very long time. So that sucks. Layers of Fear 2. I got to play Chernobyl Light, Struggling, which is a really silly co-op physics game, and Dragon Quest Builders 2. And I've talked a little bit about those, I think, each during the panel. But if not, and you want to know about my thoughts and opinions, hit me up on Twitter, @BlondeNerd. Or if you want to tell Steimer how awesome she is, @Steimer on Twitter.
Because I played nothing at PAX, so during that panel, I had nothing to contribute.
Oh, really? I thought you had played something.
No. Oh. I talked about Oxenfree for like a hot second.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, huge thanks to everyone who came to PAX and supported us. If you're at our panel, our meetup, or our D&D session, it was a really, really good time. We have a photo album on the Facebooks if you want to see what it was like. And I think we have some actual professional photos coming in sometime soon. But who knows?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look at us.
Ruh-roh.
Look at us, big girl. Big girls.
Uh-oh.
Or you want to go to GameStop TV and look at our faces on the TV? You can do that too. All right, Steimer. I never know how to transition out of these episodes. So do you want to?
Well, I think we're done here.
We are, but like, how do you gracefully say like, okay, bye?
I mean, this is the Steimbachers show, so we can do it however we want to do it.
Oh,
baby girl.
Do it.
How we all do it. Do it.
That's a dirty song.
Yes,
yeah, I know.
Yes, it is.
That is a good song.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Thanks for listening. This is why Andrea should never leave the show, because she's way better at transitioning in and out of things.
You know, I mean, our show has a certain charm to it.
I'm okay with like segues, but for intros and exits, not so
I mean, I could do the traditional like, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the What's Good Games podcast. As always, thank you for listening. I'm Brittany Brombacher, and she's Christine Steimer, and we'll see you next week. But that's boring.
Oh my god, you fucking nailed it. You should have just done that.
That's fucking boring, though. I just want to, like,
I mean,
whatever.
Sometimes life is boring, and that's okay.
That's fine. Well, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, as always, for listening, and Andrea will be joining us for episode 100 next week. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. I should have mentioned that.
We're so old. Yeah, we should have mentioned that before. Whoops.
I forgot. You know, there's a lot going on.
Buried the lead.
We're still dead from PAX and GDC. It's fine. But yeah, everyone, again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back with episode 100 next week.
Peace out.
Bye.